Hi, guys. I just started thinking about all my friends and family, and frankly, this whole nation that's still under the stay at home quarantine orders. Most people have become so accustomed to it. We may not like it, but most of us are going along with it just so long as that we're at home and we have our Netflix, our Hulu, our YouTube, music services, and don't forget Amazon Prime so we can shop at home. And the whole mess just doesn't seem that bad. But everyone is getting stimulus checks, extra money, their EBT food cards, extra money, and extra $600 a week on top of regular unemployment. So most people are okay with this and they don't complain or squeal too loudly. But this got me thinking about wild hogs. You're saying, yeah, wild hogs? What the heck am I talking about? Well, do you know how to catch wild hogs? No? Well, let me tell you how this works. Let's see if you can understand the comparison I'm going to make. So you catch wild hogs by finding a good spot in the woods. And then you get some corn and you spread the corn all around on the ground. Eventually the hogs will find it, they'll eat it, and they'll come back every day to eat that free food. Well, when they get used to coming every day, then you start by putting up a side of fence down one side of the place where they are coming for the food. Once they get used to the fence, they'll just start to eat the corn again, and you just put up another side of the fence. Eventually, they'll get so used to coming around that the fence don't even bother them, and they just come to eat the corn. So you continue putting up sides of the fence. You have all four sides of the fence up, and you put a gate onto the last side. By now, the hogs are used to the free corn. They're used to the fence, and they start to come through the gate and eat that free corn once again. Once they're all in that fence and eating that corn, then you slam that gate shut on them, and you catch the whole herd all at once. Suddenly, all the wild hogs have lost their freedom. They run around and around inside the fence, squealing and carrying on for a while, but they're caught. They can't do nothing. After a while, they'll settle back down, and they'll go back to eating the free corn. They've become so used to it that they have forgotten how to forage in the woods and feed themselves, so they accept their captivity. Unfortunately, this is what's happening in America right now. The Democrats and liberals keep pushing our society towards socialism and then on to communism. They just keep spreading that free corn out in form of programs such as supplemental income, food stamps, Section 8 housing, tax credit for unearned income, tax exemptions, dairy subsidies, payments not to plant crops, welfare entitlements, medicine, free phones, and now stimulus checks, plus an extra $600 for a week for people with unemployment. In the meantime, no one is really paying attention, but we are continually losing our freedoms just a little at a time as the government forces us to participate in many of these programs, whether we want to or we don't. But you should always remember these two things. There's no such thing as a free lunch, and you can never hire someone to provide a service for you that's cheaper than you can do it yourself. You see, all this wonderful government help is making people more and more dependent on that free corn. We have sanctuary cities. The Democrats are against the border wall. They want open borders to ensure that a steady flow of future Democrat voters coming across the border. They have also allowed illegal immigrants to get U.S. driver's licenses. They want us to allow them the right to vote in U.S. elections to ensure that the Democrats will get elected again and again. There's already a plan in place with this new funding in the stimulus bills that they want to have people vote from home and send in mail-in ballots instead of going to the polls. Why? They will continue to put our free corn, they will continue to put out that free corn, and when you're not looking, that gate will slam shut on you. May God help us all when that gate slams shut. And trust me, folks, if you don't stand up for your constitutional rights and get out and vote, that gate will be shut on your freedoms. We already have voluntarily given up some of our constitutional rights, my friends. The Constitution is supposed to protect our liberty in good times and bad, and explicitly provides for very limited emergency powers. It only allows the suspension of ordinary judicial processes in the event of war, invasion, or rebellion, but not in the case of a pandemic. It's pretty specific. The First Amendment guarantees freedoms concerning religion, expression, the right to assemble peacefully, and the right to petition. It forbids our government from restricting an individual's religious practices, yet, like in going to church. Yet we see preachers who are being arrested every day for holding a drive-in church service. Explain to me where he posed a danger to his congregation by broadcasting over a radio to people in their cars. It also guarantees us the right of citizens to peaceably assemble, like going to a public park or a movie theater with friends and family. Yet we see a father who was arrested for playing ball with his daughter in a park, or a lone surfer on a deserted California beach who was arrested by 4 deputies who weren't wearing masks, by the way. Why? Because he violated an order from shelter in place to stay away from public areas? Who did the surfer pose a danger to? No one, except to challenge the powers of the captors. The 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution guarantees that all citizens receive equal protection under laws. Really? Then how is it that big box stores like Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart can all stay open but small businesses must close? Ask yourself, which is safer? A big box store with hundreds of people milling around in a germ-filled petri dish, or your local mom and pop store with maybe 3 or 4 people in it at a time? Why is it that our politicians go out and get a haircut but we can't? Is this really protecting you or something else going on? Here's another violation. Your Fifth Amendment guarantees us all the right to travel. It's a part of a liberty that us citizens cannot be deprived of. It specifically states we have the right to travel, to go from place to place. That's guaranteed. But yet we are told to stay at home, and we can't travel unless it's necessary. That's deemed by the powers that be. Remember, most of the problems we face today are there because the people who work for a living are now outnumbered by those who vote for a living. While the rest of all you behave like good little sheep, remember, sheep are easier to catch than those hogs we talked about. So stand up, be heard, question why, and don't believe everything as it seems. Please click and like if you enjoyed this video and consider subscribing. There's more to come, folks.